This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I paused there because I'm trying to keep my composure. Many of you messaged me last night to watch this show called Adam Ruins Everything. Just an absolute snooze fest. But the show was about conspiracy theories, and what they were doing was using humor and comedy to go after quote unquote conspiracy theories. So they start off with trying to disprove people who think that the moon landing was fake, just typical boring crap. But then they decided to talk about how conspiracy theories are harmful. Because the girl says, well, conspiracy theories are harmless. And he says, no, they ruin lives. And of course, we get into McMartin Preschool and the Satanic Panic. Now, before I get into it, I tried many times to record this clip so I could upload it and you could see for yourself, because it will piss you off beyond belief. Beyond belief. And this guy, Adam, who ruins everything, I'd love to ruin Adam. Because this is an abomination. This is just absolute lie upon lie. And this is exactly why scumbags like this have shows like this. Because they take orders. Because he's likely from a satanic family. Or grew up abused, in a sense. Goes out and discredits people. And discredits a theory. And makes us all look like imbeciles. This is why there's such a problem in this world waking people up. Because scum like this, who use deflection, this is them using mind control, using humor to make these things sound insane. And they go out of their way and over the top as a woman runs in the room and she goes, "This is a conspiracy theory." And like I said, I tried to upload the clip, but it was blocked worldwide for copyright. So I couldn't get the clip up. And I wish you could see it for yourself. But the woman runs in, she goes, "This is a conspiracy theory. Daycare centers are a front to abduct children to give their blood to Satan." And she says it just so over the top. You can see the picture of the woman. Her hair's all messed up. She plays the part of the quote-unquote crazy Christian. He puts in a disc and a VHS and a tape player that says Satanic Panic, has the pentagram on it. Then goes on to say how things like this ruined so many people's lives. Not talking about the ruined lives of the children involved. No. Not talking about how it must have been a huge coincidence that thousands of children had come forward claiming to be abused at daycare centers. Thousands. No, the victims are the abusers, right? And where is that a common theme? Where is it a common theme? West Memphis 3, right? Oh, they're victims of a flawed judicial system. Oh, nobody's talking about the kids who were brutally raped and murdered. No. These guys become the victims, and everybody out there eats it up because they don't know what propaganda is and they don't know what mind control is. So the woman runs in and she's going, "They want the blood of the children. Arrest the teachers," making it look so insane, not talking about anything involving the case except to, how they went over the top with the interrogation. That was the thing that they used to discredit this entire event. Was the woman wasn't qualified to interview the children, and they made it sound like she forced them to talk about these things, because at first the children were hesitant and she would do follow-up questions and let them know and reassure them not to be afraid to talk about these things. And then they'd come out and talk about it and they go, "Oh, no. They originally said no, and then you forced them to say yes." That's always their defense. As if these kids are just going to go, "Oh yeah, my teacher, yeah, he pulled my pants down and did all this stuff to me." When they tell them after they do these events to them that they'll slit their throats, they'll kill their pets, they'll kill their parents, they make them watch them murder animals and mutilate them in front of them and babies. You don't think psychologically this destroys these kids and puts them through traumatic events and trauma-based mind control so that they wouldn't want to admit these things? Because they feel ashamed, they make them feel embarrassed, they make them feel like God hates them, they make them feel like no one will believe them. No, but instead they go, "Oh, well, the woman asked follow-up questions," right? And they have the cop come in and act all kooky and crazy, going, "There's no evidence here, but we're going to force the kids to say that there's evidence." It's just an absolute disgrace. As somebody who's been going out of my way to expose the satanic pedo rings, to expose all of these rings which have been covered up, for so long. And this goes back to Egypt, the Old Testament specifically talking about sacrifices to Baal. I mean, this is stuff that's going on, it's running rampant, and it's completely protected. And the only time any story comes out about child abuse is something that's isolated, or a parent doing it to their child, but they're not related to the occult, because there are some sick pups out there. But then you get this guy, this scumbag, Adam ruins everything. Talk about, crazy Christians were coming forward. Everybody was getting hyped up. 70%, he says, of people believed in these lies about Satanists and cults being real. Oh, then what are all these other cases out there? These are all just made up. People just keep coming forward time after time, talking about satanic cults, satanic rituals, satanic ritual abuse. All these people just making it up. For what reason? What reason would they have? Oh, for attention? Is that what they say? Yeah, because that's the type of attention somebody wants to draw to themselves, saying that they were sexually abused and forced to drink blood and forced to watch human sacrifice. Yeah, that's everybody wants to come forward and talk and say that because it does them so much good in this world. It's a joke. And shows like this are an abomination. The goal is to protect these children. These people do not want these children protected. And as long as they keep society dumbed down to not believing that these trafficking rings exist, they're going to keep getting away with everything. Because that is the thing that would wake up the world. If they realized this was going on, if they realized that Satanists exist and they perform these rituals and they make trillions of dollars trafficking these children. They claim 42 billion. I'd like to think it's more than that. You know why? Because they lie about these numbers all the time. It makes as much money as drug trade. They buy and sell these children like they're toys and abuse them. And they go out of their way to talk about satanic panic and get idiots like this loser. Adam ruins everything. This show might have ruined my life. It was so unentertaining and ridiculous. And people sit there and watch crap like this from this guy who's supposed to be straight. Oh, boy. Is this straight men in 2017? This guy representing us? Holy moly. And then they go on to say about how this whole thing started because one guy wrote a book about the occult and he lied about it. Now he's a stand-up comic, apparently. Never heard of the guy. But the guy made it up for fame. So that's how all this started. Not the thousands of kids who came forward. Thousands of kids who came forward and admitted to this. Not them. That's not how it started. It started because someone wrote a book and people, I guess they all bought the book back in the 70s. Went to whatever bookstore was around then and bought the book and said, oh my gosh, this is going on. Had nothing to do with all the children who came forward. What a joke. See how they can plant lies so easily? And people go, oh, that's how it started. Right. And you see how they leave that stuff out? And they just go, well, the only reason any of the kids said anything is because they, and then they do like a mock, reenactment where the woman's like, you did, right? I mean, they were Satanists. And they're like, sure, kind of just going like, yeah, what? The kids were going, this didn't want to talk. They're like, whatever you want me to say so I can go home and have chocolate. Ha ha ha. Then it's a big joke. It's an absolute disgrace that this goes on. And we have to deal with this. But the fact that they go out and deflect like this is what pisses me off beyond belief. Beyond belief. How these people sleep at night. Covering up for them. These organizations that cover up for satanic ritual abuse. And then they want to use mind control because they know people who are victims of SRA are weak. And they're only weak because they've been beaten down and put through trauma. So they continue to beat them up. And beat them up. And call them crazy. And these people can't defend themselves against these so-called big bullies. Well, it's time to bully them. Screw them. Screw them covering this stuff up, acting like a joke. Just like when Pizzagate, all people were saying is, look at the photographs that Ali Fontes has. Just look at them, okay? And he's posting them on his Instagram, and people aren't thinking something's wrong here. And instead it just turns into a whole joke about a pizza parlor and how Hillary Clinton's prostituting children and, it's crazy, it's crazy. Never about the kids. They don't give a damn about the kids because they're sick, twisted, and they feed off of the blood of these children. And that's the truth. These rings have been covered up. It's not just, people are just making this stuff out of thin air. You want to go to Hampstead. You want to go McMartin. Other cases that I've covered, which show that there's satanic organizations, satanic rings that feed off of these children. And then they come out and they just go, Oh, you're going to drink the blood of my child, daycare center. And people see that and they laugh and they go, yeah, that's just crazy. That's all it takes, is them using a little stupid humor like that, throwing in some sarcasm, and making all of us look crazy when we're not. Why don't you ask these victims, huh? And the people go, oh, these victims, where are they now? They get shut up when they come out and speak. They get told not to speak. They get threatened. They get gang stalked. It really is, it breaks my heart to see stuff like this. I apologize for some of the language. I just, researching McMartin, there's so much evidence, so much of the work that Ted Gunderson did, so much stuff there that shows you that it was completely covered up. The fact that they never even tried to go under the school. The ground was filled in with new dirt that didn't even match the existing dirt. They dig it out. They find all this stuff. They find bones. They find a path to an airport. They find a burnt down house up there that's covered in satanic symbols. And the pilots there had said that they were flying the kids. It's all there. And people just refuse to see it. They refuse. They don't want to believe this stuff's going on. I don't blame them, because this is horrifying to deal with. It's horrifying to think about how these people just do this stuff to kids and they have no remorse whatsoever. It's horrifying to think that there's human beings in this world like that. I get that. But if people would just realize, by them looking into this and researching it and waking up, they could be saving and helping these children, instead of ignoring it and going, oh, it's just crazy. They're saying it's just crazy because they want to dismiss it. They don't want to believe it's true. They don't want to dig into it. They want to deflect off of it. And as horrifying it is to look into this stuff, trust me, it wears me out all the time. It's important that people do. Because if people become aware of this stuff, then they become more aware of what's going on with their kids. They become more aware of the people around them. This helps protect children. Raising awareness on this stuff. Letting your kids know if this type of activity goes on, what you do. Don't be afraid to speak. But instead, kids don't even know this is going on, so they can't even comprehend when it's happening to them. The parents can't comprehend hearing about it. Everybody just wants to ignore it. It's a big elephant in the room. Well, I refuse to let it be an elephant in the room. And this guy, Adam, ruins everything. I like to see this guy face to face. He'd ruin his flaming suit he's got on because he'd probably soil himself. So ruin that, Adam. I thank you for listening to today's show. Pray for these children always. And if you know people who watch shows like this, explain to them why they do it, why they use humor, why they deflect. And maybe, just maybe, people will start waking up and we can help some of these kids. I thank you again for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.